If you're not following up with happy customers for video testimonials, reviews, or referrals, you're leaving massive money and credibility on the table. And if you've been avoiding it because it feels tedious or time consuming, I'm about to show you how to build an AI agent that handles all of your customer follow-up automatically. And it even books appointments. So if you're into making money with AI and automations, hit the like button and subscribe, and let's dive in. So I work for a home services business, and I implemented this for my 9 to 5, and it increased our video testimonials 54%, which directly boosted our close rate and our average ticket. So we're making more money while saving me 2 hours a week that I used to spend doing this process manually. After a job is complete, most businesses forget or delay asking for a testimonial. That's lost social proof, missed referrals, and it feels awkward to ask for it weeks later. But the same thing also applies to any kind of follow-up that you do after you work with a customer or client. So in the legal industry, that could be scheduling client intake or post-case reviews. In real estate, it could be following up with buyers or sellers for reviews or testimonials. In healthcare, it could be appointment reminders or collecting patient reviews. If you're a coach or consultant, that could be onboarding calls and testimonials. For events, it can be collecting feedback and scheduling follow-up consultations. For fitness and personal training, it could be booking sessions or getting progress updates from your clients. So the point being, customer follow-up after you've completed work with them is not just optional, it's mandatory for you to have a healthy business. So let me show you the use case that I built for my 9 to 5, and then you can see how it would apply to your use case. Okay, so for this system, we're going to build 2 N8N workflows. The first is going to start with a webhook. And so that webhook is going to catch the job being marked as complete or the job being marked as paid or whatever the trigger is for your specific use case that's going to say, okay, now we can start the timer so that we can reach out to this customer and ask them for a video testimonial or whatever it is that you want to contact them about. So I'm just going to be using my business use case as an example. So we're listening for a job to be marked as complete. We're going to be waiting 3 days. Then we're going to send a SMS message that's going to say, hey, would you be willing to do a video testimonial? We'll give you $50, so on and so forth. And lastly, it's going to create a record in our Airtable database that looks like this. So it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And from there, we're going to build this second workflow that's going to have a Twilio trigger. So it's listening for a response back to the SMS message that we sent. It's going to search the Airtable database for that phone number. It's going to update the Airtable database with their response, and then it's going to come here to the AI agent whose instructions are basically try to book an appointment with this person. So this AI agent has a number of different tools. It has the ability to check my calendar. So if the customer comes back and they're like, oh, I'm available this day and this time, they can check and make sure that I have availability then. If I do, it's going to go ahead and create the event. It's going to update the record in to show when the appointment date is, and then it's just going to have the agent's last response here. And so that way we can always kind of track the conversation that's happening back and forth. And obviously it also has the Twilio tool, so it's able to converse back and forth with that customer until they reach an agreement on when the date is. The agent is also set up so that if the customer responds and they say, no, I'm not interested, then the agent will respond and say, hey, no worries, thanks for letting me know. Just give a gracious thank you. We're using OpenAI's GPT 4.1 and a simple memory of 10. And so the cool thing about that is it just allows the agent to remember the back and forth without it having to go back and look at the Airtable database so that it can see what the response has been from the lead. Okay, so let's dive into the first workflow. Okay, so I'm going to create a new workflow. And I'm just going to name this Demo Video Agent 1. So you're going to add a webhook node. And I'm actually just going to copy and paste the one that I had for my working demo that I was building the other day, because I already have some data in here and it's just going to help us to map that data across. Now we're going to add a wait step. The reason being, for my particular use case, we just finished the job at this customer's home. It was a big job. We want to give them a few days to decompress before we go out and make this ask for a video testimonial. So we're going to add a wait step for 3 days. So I'm going to change that to 3 days. And then after that 3-day wait period, then we're going to send them an SMS message through Twilio. So I'm going to come here to Twilio and send an SMS, MMS, or WhatsApp message. The cool thing about Twilio is that I use it for SMS, but you can also have it set up for WhatsApp. You do need a verified Facebook business account if you are going to be sending WhatsApp messages. So if you're a business, make sure you have that set up. If you're building this for a business, just be aware that you're going to need to have them get that set up. And if you're working at a 9 to 5 and you're building this for your 9 to 5, then same thing is true there. Okay, so I already have my Twilio credential connected, but if you are connecting it for the first time, what you'll want to do is go to create new credential, and then you're going to need to get your account SID and your auth token. So if you create your Twilio account, it's going to be your account SID right here and your auth token here. So you'll just copy both of those and you'll paste them in here. And then you'll click save. And then your from number is going to be my Twilio phone number. So it's right below your auth token in your Twilio account. And I don't want to put mine on blast, which is why I'm not showing it on screen, but it's just right underneath this basic info when you log into your dashboard for Twilio. So just for the purposes of the demo, I'm going to use a dummy number until we get to the testing point, and then I'm going to switch it over to my real number so you can see it in action. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to temporarily remove the wait node. The reason being I don't want it to wait 3 days so that I can map the data. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove it for right now. And now that the webhook and the Twilio node are connected, I can come in here and just map the phone number across. So here's the phone number. I'm going to just drag and drop this. And if you are using WhatsApp and you have that set up in your Twilio account, then you would just toggle this to WhatsApp. You would turn that on. For our message, we're just going to say something simple like, hey, and then we have the first name up here. Hey, first name. This is Lindsay from ABC Company. Just wondering if you'd be interested in doing a quick video testimonial about your experience with us. It would only be 5 minutes, and we'd give you $50 as a thank you. Let me know. So just something basic. Whatever your ask is, it doesn't have to be this big old long paragraph. If it's short and sweet, just identify yourself, let them know what the ask is. All right, so now you've got that set up. And now we are going to create a record in our Airtable database. So coming back over here to Airtable is just a very simple database. We have email address, the first and last name, the phone number, the SMS response, the agent's last response, the created time, last follow-up time, and the appointment date. And I'll include a link if you want to just import this Airtable into your own account. So click the link down in the description if you just want to import this one and follow along or use it for your own use case and just make modifications. All right, and before we head back over to N8N, if you don't already have a personal access token set up, this is how you would do so. So go down here to the lower left-hand corner, click on account, and you're going to go to Builder Hub. You're going to create a new token, give it a name, and you're going to add a scope. And the scope is going to be data records read, data records write, and schema bases read. I'm just going to add the base that I'm currently working in, which is N8N test, and create the token. Now I'm going to copy that token and come back over to N8N. And now I'm going to come in here and add a create records. So it's set to create. I'm going to select the base, so N8N test, and it's from the table that is called leads. Okay, and I'm going to execute this step so that it can map the data in the Airtable database. Okay, so I'm going to expand the node, and we're just going to map everything over so that we can create our record in Airtable. I'm going to bring across email, first name, last name, phone number, and we're not going to include SMS response because the lead or the customer hasn't responded yet. We're not going to map the agent last response because the agent hasn't responded. And we're going to remove appointment date because it hasn't been set yet. Okay, and now let's execute that step. And we see the second test one come through. Okay, so now that I know that that is working correctly, I can go ahead and reattach my wait step. And now we're going to get into the juicy stuff. So the actual agent that is going to be corresponding back and forth to set the appointment date with the customer. So we're going to create a new workflow, and we're going to be adding a Twilio trigger node, and we want it to be on new SMS. And I just went ahead and pasted mine in here from my demo I built the other day because it has pinned data so that we can use that for mapping. But if we come in here, it is set to trigger on new SMS, so you can just leave the default settings. Okay, so next we're going to add a search Airtable records node, because basically we know the phone number of the respondent. So the person who texted us back or sent an SMS message back, now we have to match that to the record in Airtable so we know who we're talking to. So we're going to choose search records, and then I'm going to select the correct database, which is N8N test, and the correct table. And now we want to filter by the phone number because that's what we want to match it on, or that's the only record that we want returned so that the agent is talking to that one individual person. So the Airtable field is called phone number with capital P and capital N. And so we're going to put curly brackets, phone number, just like exactly how it's written in Airtable, a space, equal sign, and then we're going to put quotes. And inside of those quotes, all the way down here at the bottom, we're going to take this from number and drag it in between these quotes. Okay, and let's execute that step to test it and make sure it works. And it does. It's pulling up the record that we have in there for testington. Okay, and now we're going to add another Airtable node. This one is going to update that record that we just searched for and found. So we're going to select our base and our table, and it's going to give us all these different values to map, but all we want is to keep the ID because that's what we're using to update the Airtable record. That's how we're matching it. And we're only going to be mapping the ID and the SMS response, which is the message back from the customer or the lead. So I'm going to expand the Airtable node and grab the ID and then drag that across. And then the SMS response will be in the Twilio node. So if I expand that, scroll all the way to the bottom where it says body, how about this Friday at 8 a.m.? So that's the customer's response back to the business. We're going to drag that in. We'll execute that step, and we can see it updated automatically here in Airtable. Okay, now the really powerful part, which is the AI agent. So I'm going to provide you with some really robust system instructions, and really the system instructions are the most crucial part of this entire system. And the reason for that is, number one, it's going to tell your agent how to converse back and forth with the customer or the lead. And number two, it's going to instruct it on how to use the tools in its arsenal. So how and when to send an SMS message back to the customer, how and when to use Google Calendar to check for availability or to create an event, and how and when to update Airtable so that the date and time of the appointment is listed there in the database. So I'm going to add an AI agent node, and I want to choose the source for the prompt as defined below. Just going to put hi in there for now. And we do want to add a system message. So I'm going to replace the system message with the very robust system instructions that I put together. So like I said, it spells out the roles and responsibilities, the style and tone with which to respond back to the customer, how to book appointments, like what time frame, what time zone. And down here at the bottom where we're using this variable now, so I can just remove this and show you how we're going to map that. But if you come over here to variables and context, we can just drag and drop this now variable in between these backticks. And that just lets the agent know this is the current date and time. I have it set to convert to Pacific time because that's where I'm located. You can obviously change that to your heart's content, but that just gives the agent context so it knows the days and times and time zone to book appointments. So it's not going to be trying to book appointments in the past because it knows that it's now. And I'll have these system instructions down below. So if you are looking for a fantastic template, I don't mean to brag, but these are airtight. Okay, so now I have my system message in there and I want to change up my prompt. So now I'm going to give it a prompt that just says first name as responded to our request for a video testimonial. Their most recent message this. And then I'm going to come back over here to the Twilio trigger, scroll all the way down to body, and just drag that over. And then I'm just going to add, please respond accordingly. And it will know based on its system instructions what respond accordingly means. So does that mean ask when they're available, or does that mean graciously say, okay, thanks for letting me know, depending on what the response was from the customer? Okay, we are almost done with building the second workflow, the agent, the most important part. If you're getting value from this, hit the like button, subscribe, and let's dive into finishing out this second workflow. So for the chat model, I'm going to go to OpenAI, and I already have my OpenAI credentials set up. If you haven't set yours up, this is how you do it. Go to platform.openai.com, search for API keys, go and click on create new secret key. I'm going to name mine delete me so that I remember to delete it. You could select default project and leave permissions to all and then create the secret key. I'm going to copy the key and come back over to the OpenAI chat model, click the dropdown, create a new credential, and then paste the API key in here and click save. Okay, so now that's connected. We're just going to leave it on GPT 4.1 mini. Okay, now we're going to add simple memory. And like I said, this is just a simple way for the agent to just be able to keep track of the back and forth. So it's not having to refer back to the Airtable database to see what the most recent conversation was. It just can store it in its memory. So for the session ID, we're going to define it below. And for the key, we're going to use phone number. So we can just drag that over from the update record node. For the context window length, I'm setting it to 10 because there's very infrequently more than 10 messages back and forth when we're trying to set up a video testimonial appointment. If you need a larger context window, I've used up to 50 before without issue. So depending on the context of your use case, you might want to have it shorter or longer, but I have it set to 10. Okay, next I need to give it 4 tools. The first is Twilio. And I'm going to name this send SMS. The reason being is that matches the name of the tool in the system instructions. So when you're writing system instructions and then naming your tools, they have to match exactly. I'm talking capitalization and everything. Otherwise, your agent is not going to recognize the tool and won't know how to use it. Okay, so I'm just going to use a dummy from number. And then the to phone number, I'm going to expand the update record node and drag over the to phone number. And then I'm going to let the model define the message, because it's explicitly spelled out in its custom instructions and it's given parameters to kind of work within, so it knows how to respond accordingly. Okay, next we're going to add a Google Calendar tool. And if you haven't connected your credential, it's super easy. Click the drop down, create a new credential, and you'll just log into your Google account. So nothing super fancy there. But we're going to call this tool select your calendar from the list. And I'm going to let the model define the start and end time. And I'm going to add a field for the description and let the model define that as well. Next, I'm going to add another Google Calendar tool, and this one is going to be called Search Availability. So I'm going to change the operation to Get Many. Going to select the correct calendar from the drop-down list. I have my limit set to 20 because I don't have that many events on my calendar, and so 20 events is going to take me out like a month. So depending on how many events you have on your calendar, you might need to make that a higher limit or lower, but 20 is sufficient for this use case. Okay, and then I'm going to let the model define the after and the before. And now we are just setting up one final tool, and that is for the agent to be able to update Airtable. So basically what we're going to have it do is agreed on an appointment date and time with the customer. So we're going to go ahead and add a tool from Air, and we're going to call this tool update record, and we want to change the operation to update. Okay, then we're going to select the appropriate base and the table. And then we're going to expand the update record node on the left so that we can drag and drop the ID over. And we can get rid of everything else except for the appointment date, which we're going to let the model define. And again, the reason for that is we've given really explicit system instructions. So the model already has that information. We don't need to worry about mapping it twice. The final step is we're going to add one last Airtable node. So add your base and table in there. And all we're going to be updating, so we'll need the ID to match. We can get rid of all of these other fields, and we're just looking for the agent last response. So that's all we're mapping here. All right, so let me get this test data into the agent. Oops, and I forgot to replace the dummy placeholder with my real Twilio number, so let me come back here and fix that and try it again. Okay, let's rerun it, and let's see, I should have a response on my actual phone. So it says, great, your video testimonial is confirmed for 7/25, which is Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific. We'll meet you at your home. Looking forward to it. And that message is crafted within the agent's custom instructions. So you can tweak that, but that's where that lives. Okay, and then the final step is we will update the Airtable record. Yes, we still need to map this guy. Okay, so we need the Airtable ID. We can get that by expanding the update record node, dragging that across, and then the agent last response, which is just the output from the agent right here. Okay, let's execute that step, and let's come back over to our Airtable database so you can see the appointment date and time is updated right here, and then the last correspondence. So if I wanted to, if I'm the business owner and I just wanted to check in and see where are things currently, like what's the communication been with this person, then I can check it out here. But that's how you build a video testimonial agent, connecting it with two workflows, and now you can get your video testimonials or whatever customer communication that you want done on autopilot, including booking the appointment. And that's it. A fully automated SMS agent that handles follow-ups, books appointments, and keeps everything neatly logged for you in Airtable. You can build this exact workflow for video testimonials, onboarding, or even to re-engage old leads. If you want to learn how to create builds like this, either for your own business or as a freelancer or consultant, click the first link down below and join the AI Foundations community. And if you're a business owner looking for help, you can book a call with me at the second link down below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.